Stephen Hawking, the king of physics and a bad husband. When discussing the eminent and great scientists in human history, most of us immediately think of Isaac Newton with his law of gravity, Marie Curie with her groundbreaking discoveries in radioactivity, Charles Darwin, who pioneered the theory of evolution, or some controversial inventors like Thomas Edison or Nikola Tesla. So in the present era, especially in the early 21st century, which names would be on this list if we were to mention the most prominent scientists of the past 50 years? The name Stephen Hawking must undoubtedly be included. This theoretical physicist not only stood out in the scientific community due to his talent and intelligence, but also because of his inspiring story of resilience and determination in the face of adversity. His research journey challenged the boundaries of science, opening new horizons for humanity. However, these are merely things that many people have witnessed and acknowledged. Behind the halo of this scientist, dubbed the disabled genius, lie stories of failure and troubled family relationships that few ever mention. To better understand Stephen Hawking's life and career, dear audience, let us dive into the content of this video. Biography and family background. Stephen Hawking was born on January 8, 1942, in Oxford, England. He was born into a family where his father was a doctor and his mother a researcher, both of whom studied and graduated from the University of Oxford. During World War II, his mother moved to Oxford to give birth safely. Hawking had two younger sisters and a younger brother who passed away in infancy. He attended primary school at Byron House, but in his later published book, A Brief History of My Life, he openly criticized the school's teaching methods. I remember complaining to my parents that this school taught me nothing. The educators at Byron House believed in the cramming methods accepted at the time. Later, his family moved to Stalbans when he was just 8 years old. There, he was enrolled in a secondary school for girls. Although the school only admitted female students, it accepted male students under the age of 10. At 9 years old, his academic performance at Stalbans was rated as merely average. There was progress, but the improvement was negligible. The issue was not a lack of intelligence on Stephen Hawking's part, but rather his tendency to procrastinate. Despite his low grades, both teachers and peers recognized the genius in this 9-year-old boy. They often nicknamed him Einstein. Hawking wrote about this in A Brief History of My Life. I was never ranked in the top half of my class. My classwork was very messy, and my handwriting was the despair of my teachers, but my classmates gave me the nickname Einstein. Perhaps they saw signs of something better. Additionally, the Hawking family was considered intellectual and somewhat eccentric. They lived together in a large house, and meals were often eaten in silence, with each person holding a book in hand. His parents placed great importance on education, and their teaching methods were more unique compared to many other families of that era. They encouraged proactive exploration of knowledge, rejecting traditional educational approaches. Despite financial difficulties, his parents ensured their children had access to a full education, while also encouraging them to explore the world around them. Over time, he increasingly demonstrated remarkable aptitude in the natural sciences. Initially, his father hoped Hawking would pursue medicine, but in the end, he chose to study physics. In October 1959, Hawking was admitted to the University of Oxford at the age of just 17. During his early days at university, he often felt out of place due to the significant gap between him and his peers. He was younger than most students, and he found university studies oddly easy. His physics professor, Robert Berman, said of Stephen Hawking, "For him, just knowing that something could be done meant he could do it without needing to look at how others had done it." Things became more positive when he made efforts to fit in with his peers. To be well-liked, he joined the rowing club as a coxswain. However, lacking talent in rowing, he often led his team to a B ranking. Nevertheless, being part of a club helped him build many new relationships, making his time at school more enjoyable. He wrote, "In my third year, To make more friends, I joined the rowing club as a coxswain. However, my steering career was quite disastrous because the rivers in Oxford were too narrow for side-by-side rowing. They had to arrange the racecourse in a single file, with 8 boats following one another. Each coxswain had to keep their boat at the starting line, ensuring their boat was at a reasonable distance from the one in front. In my first race, I had the boat leave the starting line as soon as the starting gun was fired, but the steering cable got stuck. As a result, our team veered off course and was disqualified. On another occasion, our boat crashed head-on into another boat, but at least in this case, I can confidently say it wasn't my fault since I was overtaking according to the rules. Although I wasn't successful as a coxswain, those years helped me make more friends and feel happier. Excerpt from a brief history of my life. At university, his study habits were considered strange by his peers. It is estimated that Stephen Hawking spent only about 1,000 hours studying over his 3 years at Oxford, averaging 1 hour per day. This unimpressive study habit made him anxious about his final exams, as he only answered theoretical questions, skipping practical ones, with the hope of pursuing cosmology at the University of Cambridge. Admission there required an honors degree. Therefore, Stephen Hawking chose to take an entrance exam. His exam results were on the borderline between first and second class, leading to an oral examination. There, Hawking made a strong impression on the examiners with his intellect and confidence. He clearly stated his stance. If awarded a first-class degree, he would go to Cambridge. Otherwise, he would stay at Oxford. The examiners recognized the exceptional potential in the young man before them, and perhaps they also wanted a natural genius to be trained in the best educational environment. Thus, the examiners decided to award Stephen Hawking a first-class degree. After receiving his first-class degree, Hawking quickly moved to Cambridge, beginning his studies at Trinity Hall in October 1962. Milestones and notable achievements in his career. In 1962, Stephen Hawking arrived at Cambridge to join a graduate research program, where he sought to work with Fred Hoyle, one of the most renowned astronomers of the time. But his life was suddenly turned upside down when he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, in 1963. Doctors believed he would not survive beyond 2 years with this cruel disease. Despite enduring immense pain caused by the illness, Hawking did not let it affect his spirit or career. He diligently pursued his research despite physical challenges. The primary caregiver and supporter during this difficult period was Jane, his first wife. Throughout his struggle with the disease, Hawking maintained close relationships with friends and colleagues in the scientific community. His friends and colleagues, in turn, wholeheartedly supported him emotionally and professionally. ALS progressively robbed Hawking of his ability to move and communicate, rendering him unable to walk and eventually unable to speak. To continue his work, he was forced to use assistive devices, including an eye-controlled speech system. This device allowed him to continue working and communicating. Despite countless difficulties, his passion for research enabled Hawking to achieve numerous significant milestones in his career. In 1966, he published his research on singularities and the geometry of spacetime, earning him the Adams Prize. By 1968, he collaborated with Roger Penrose, a British mathematical physicist, philosopher, and mathematician, to develop the theory of gravitational singularities, confirming the distortion of gravity at singularity points. In 1970, Hawking proposed the second law of black hole mechanics, stating that the event horizon of a black hole can never shrink. He went on to publish the book, The Large-Scale Structure of Spacetime, in 1973, compiling detailed studies on space and time. In 1974, he shocked the world with the discovery of Hawking radiation, proving that black holes can emit radiation and potentially disappear. Hawking also suggested in 1981 that the universe might have no beginning or end. Later, alongside James Hartle, an American theoretical physicist, he introduced the Hartle-Hawking state in 1983, proposing that time did not exist before the Big Bang. Stephen Hawking not only left a profound mark on scientific research, but also made a strong impression by publishing 7 captivating physics books. His debut book, A Brief History of Time, published in 1988, opened a new door for readers to explore physics through fascinating cosmic phenomena like the Big Bang and black holes. Upon its release, the book became a global phenomenon, a bestseller with over 10 million copies sold and translated into 35 languages. Next, he wrote The Universe in a Nutshell in 2001, a book guiding readers through the exploration of physics issues and presenting the history of modern physics. The Universe in a Nutshell is considered one of Stephen Hawking's most successful works, selling over 10 million copies and winning the Inventors Prize for Science Books. In 2010, Hawking published The Grand Design, a book co-authored with Leonard Mlodinow. The book's content focuses on exploring the relationship between life and the universe. Additionally, he wrote A Brief History of My Life in 2013, an autobiography chronicling his life journey from childhood. Together with his daughter, he wrote 2 books, George's Secret Key to the Universe in 2007 and George, and The Unbreakable Code in 2009. These works explain physics concepts to younger generations through engaging adventure stories. A genius mind, combined with tireless dedication to thousands of large and small research projects, Stephen Hawking received numerous awards, including the Albert Einstein Award, the Wolf Prize, and the Copley Medal. In 2009, he was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom by U.S. President Barack Obama, an extremely prestigious award. There are countless fascinating things about the king of physics, Stephen Hawking, especially his joy, sense of humor, and diverse interests. Many assume that someone engaged in scientific research would be dry, but Hawking was the complete opposite. He was not only brilliant but also very witty. Besides his love for physics, he was interested in classical music and science fiction novels. Moreover, he dedicated time to acting in several films. Though his appearances were brief, his facial expressions and physical condition in the footage left a strong impression on viewers. However, no one in this world is perfect, not even great figures. As an eminent physicist, Stephen Hawking also had his dark sides, failures in his career, contributions that went unrecognized, and unfinished matters after his passing. Behind the halo of the eminent physicist. A poor husband. As an eminent physicist, Hawking was, unfortunately, a poor husband. His shortcomings did not stem from a lack of love, but rather from his intense passion for physics, which caused him to neglect his responsibilities as a husband. Jane, his first wife, once shared, "It wasn't family, but physics that was the greatest love of my husband's life." She wasn't jealous, but she felt deeply troubled. All the responsibilities of caring for the children and managing family matters fell on Jane's shoulders, often leaving her feeling utterly exhausted. Stephen Hawking and Jane met when both were university students. A sweet romance quickly blossomed between them. Despite knowing that Stephen had ALS and, according to doctors, could only live for another 2 years, Jane decided to marry him. They quickly tied the knot in 1965, when Stephen Hawking was 23 and Jane had just turned 21. Their married life had many happy moments, but also numerous ups and downs. While Stephen Hawking constantly faced symptoms of ALS, Jane took on nearly all responsibilities. She was not only a wife, but also a nurse, driver, and both father and mother to their children. For Stephen Hawking, though ALS tormented him physically, it cannot be denied that it provided a golden opportunity for him to shirk his role as a husband, dedicating his entire time to researching physics and cosmology. Things worsened when Stephen Hawking rose to fame with the book A Brief History of Time. Nurses caring for his health entered their home. The flattery from those around him exhausted Jane. During this time, Jane began developing feelings for Jonathan Jones, a church musician. The turmoil in the family, combined with Jane's moment of weakness, pushed their marriage to the brink of collapse. Of course, both Stephen Hawking and Jane tried to save their marriage, but the relationship between them grew increasingly distant due to a lack of understanding and sharing. In the end, after 25 years of living together, they divorced, ending a journey of companionship despite having overcome many highs and lows in life. Stephen Hawking's second marriage to Elaine Mason, one of his nurses, was also far from ideal. Initially, their love seemed passionate, but over time, the relationship faced numerous allegations of abuse and control. After 11 years, they parted ways. Stephen Hawking lived alone with a housekeeper. Interesting failures on the path to success. Success cannot be achieved without failures. This statement accurately describes Stephen Hawking's career. Despite his talent, he also experienced numerous failures in his life. One of the most interesting failures of Stephen Hawking occurred in 2009. To prove that space and time travel was entirely feasible, he hosted a party for time travelers. The Discovery Channel specially documented the event on video, showing the physicist dressed impeccably, waiting for time travelers to visit at a lecture hall at the University of Cambridge on June 28, 2009. The party featured champagne, balloons, and appetizers. Hawking even provided precise GPS coordinates to prevent any confusion, or in case someone got lost while traveling rapidly through time and space. But the catch was that he didn't send out any invitations until after the party had ended, and that was precisely Hawking's goal, not sending invitations and seeing if anyone would actually show up. He shared with reporters at the CR Science Festival in 2012. "I threw a party for time travelers, but I didn't send out invitations until after the party. I sat there for a long time, but no one came." He further added, "I hope copies of this experiment, in various forms, will survive for thousands of years. Perhaps one day, someone living in the future will find the information and use a time machine to return to my party, proving that time travel will one day become a reality." The experiment was deemed a failure, but it also demonstrated the sense of humor of an intriguing scientist. Another failure, which took more time but also marked a significant milestone in Hawking's humility and perception, was his research on black holes around 1972. Initially, most physicists believed that black holes could not emit heat or energy, meaning they had no temperature. However, physicist Jacob Bekenstein pointed out that black holes could indeed have entropy, meaning they could contain information and energy, and thus could emit heat. Stephen Hawking was furious at Bekenstein's arguments at the time, determined to prove Bekenstein wrong. But after 2 years of tireless research, Hawking finally had to admit he was mistaken. He discovered that black holes not only have entropy, but also emit energy in the form of Hawking radiation. Fortunately, Hawking did not let pride hinder him from admitting his mistake. He was also very clever in turning failure into a major turning point in the reform of scientific thinking. Does not winning a Nobel Prize mean a failed career? Despite earning many valuable awards throughout his research career, Stephen Hawking never received a Nobel Prize. This fact left many people puzzled, even outraged. Why was someone with such monumental contributions to science not honored with this prestigious award? What was the real reason? According to news.com.au, the Nobel Prize Committee prioritizes tangible evidence over grand ideas. Physicist Sean Carroll from the California Institute of Technology explained, "The Nobel Prize is not awarded to the smartest people or those with the greatest contributions, but to practical discoveries. Hawking's black hole theory, though highly influential, has never been tested in practice. This explains why he did not receive the prestigious Nobel Prize. Nevertheless, the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences still affirmed that Stephen Hawking was an outstanding scientist with many significant contributions. Although he did not win a Nobel Prize, Those who had the opportunity to collaborate with Stephen Hawking always spoke of him with the highest praise. They emphasized his talent and extraordinary intellect, which opened many new horizons in the field of physics. Perimeter Institute director Neil Turok, a collaborator who later became a close friend of Stephen Hawking, said, "Stephen's life was heroic in many ways. He was the first pioneer in theoretical physics, establishing a bold program for the field." Raymond Laflamme, a collaborator at Perimeter and former director of the Institute for Quantum Computing at the University of Waterloo, who was mentored by Hawking during his PhD at Cambridge, stated, "Stephen Hawking was a remarkable scientist who changed the way we think about the universe. Despite his illness, he remained cheerful, humorous, wonderful, and capable of achieving incredible things to inspire many people. He was a source of inspiration for us to overcome challenges, keep moving forward, and always be kind to those around us." From this, it can be seen that Stephen Hawking's fame came not only from his great scientific works, but also from his inspiring way of living. Perhaps these things do not need a specific Nobel Prize to affirm their value. Prophecies for humanity. Upon his passing, Stephen Hawking left behind many important warnings about the future. Reality shows that some of his concerns have come true. He emphasized that artificial intelligence, AI, could bring many benefits, but also harbors countless serious risks. Hawking was concerned that if AI develops beyond human control, it could threaten humanity's survival. By 2024, we have seen the great achievements AI has brought. But it cannot be denied that it also poses many dangers, especially in replacing humans in the workforce. Additionally, population growth and overexploitation of natural resources were issues that Hawking worried about. He reminded us of the major challenges humanity is facing, the consequences of climate change, to the uncontrolled development of technology. Furthermore, he criticized President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Agreement, emphasizing that this decision would cause severe harm to our green planet. His warnings remain valid as humanity continues to face serious consequences from the misuse of technology and resources. Yet most of us have not truly taken seriously the need to clearly recognize the severity of the issues Hawking conveyed. Conclusion. Stephen Hawking passed away at the age of 76 in 2018. His departure not only marked the end of an extraordinary life, but also served as proof of the power to transcend all limits. With unwavering determination, he overcame the doctor's prognosis at the age of 21, which stated he would not live beyond 2 years. Hawking's intellect and perseverance are also a vivid testament to how mental strength can surpass all challenges. A meaningful life can absolutely be built even in the most difficult circumstances. The legacy he left behind will forever live in the hearts of those who dare to dream and relentlessly strive. Hawking showed us that with determination and passion, everything can become a reality.